So Denia just came out, and I know a lot of people are wondering how exactly you're supposed to build her, and what teams she actually works in. And honestly, I had the same exact question at first. So in this guide, I'll go over how our kit works, her best weapons, echoes, teams, resonance chains, rotations, and whether she's even worth pulling in the first place. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first of all, who actually is Denia? Denia is a 5-star fusion rectifier character that mainly works as a sub DPS and amplifier. Her gameplay revolves around two different modes, Fusion Burst and Toon Strain. She has a dual form playstyle and mainly buffs Resonance Liberation damage while also providing pretty solid off-field utility through additional damage and grouping. So how does her kit actually work? Denia has two forms, Stagecraft form and Breakdown form. The main objective during Stagecraft is generating void particles and dark cores for a breakdown form. Then, once you use her liberation, you enter breakdown mode, which gives you access to her enhanced skill and lets you finish her full rotation before swapping off the field. So, overall, Denia is a pretty rotation focused character that heavily relies on her liberation to function properly. As for her skill priority, prioritize her liberation first, then her forte, and finally her skill. Her basic attacks and nitro skill are mostly optional and only really worth leveling for some extra damage. Now moving on to her weapons. As usual, her best weapon is obviously going to be her signature, Forge Dwelling Star. It gives crit rate, a lot of attack, extra liberation damage, and also provides additional team buffing utility, which fits Denia perfectly. Now for substitutes, String Master is the best option thanks to the high crit rate and off-field damage boost. You can also use other 5-star rectifiers as stat sticks if you already have them. And if you don't have any limited 5-star option, Cosmic Ripples is still usable, although the lack of crit does hurt a bit. For 4-star options, Augment from the Battle Pass works very well, and if you're a newer player, Waltz in Masquerade is also a decent craftable alternative. Now for echoes. If you're playing your Fusion Burst teams, I recommend using Chromatic Foam for the best balance between damage and support utility. For the main echo, use Reminiscence Denia, since it gives fusion damage bonus to the incoming character. Now for the Toonstein teams, use Reel of Spliced Memories, since it increases the team's break boost. And for the main echo there, go with Voidwing Moth for the extra attack buff. Now if you want to build Denia more as a main DPS, or if you simply don't have better options yet, you can also use Flaming Clawprint with Lioness of Glory. And if you still don't have those sets, Moonlight Clouds is completely fine as a temporary option because the energy regen and damage buffs are still useful. As for echo stats, run the standard 4-3-3-1-1 setup for your 4 cost crit rate or crit damage, for your 3 costs double fusion damage bonus if possible, or 1 fusion and 1 attack percent, and for the 1 costs attack percent. Now for substats, prioritize energy regen until around 125%, crit rate, crit damage, attack percent, and finally resonance liberation damage. Because without the liberation, Denia's rotations become atrociously slower. Now let's quickly talk about a resonance chains. S1 mainly gives some crit damage and its corruption resistance, but honestly it's mostly just a quality of life upgrade. S2 is slightly better and gives Denia much stronger buffing capabilities while also making her more universal across both playstyles. S3 is where Denia starts becoming much more viable as a main DPS, since it massively boosts her breakdown damage and increases dark core generation. S4 is mostly filler, S5 is just a bit more damage, and S6 is obviously her biggest spike, adding exclusive anomaly stacking mechanics and heavily boosting her overall damage output. Now for her teams, for Fusion Burst teams the main setup is Aymet as the main DPS, Denia as the sub DPS, and Shisa as the sustain. If you don't have Shisa, you can replace her with Lupa, although Shisa is definitely a lot stronger. Now for the Toonstrain teams, Luke is the main DPS, Denia is the sub DPS, and Mornier is a sustainer. And honestly, Mornier is pretty important here, so there isn't really a perfect replacement. But if you really don't have anything else, in the meantime you can use Shorekeeper or Verena. Now if you want to play Denia as a main DPS, mostly at S3, you can run Denia, Linnea, and Mornier. and if Lina is busy, you can replace her with Lupa for a triple fusion setup. And finally, for newer or free-to-play players, you can still make Denia work with Jianshin for liberation damage buffs, Yang Yang for energy regen, or Sanwa for faster concerto generation. And for sustain, just use Verena. As for rotation, start up with an intro, she'll use her basic stagecraft 4, then use her skill, you can use the skill to also cancel her basic attack 4, then use the ultimate, then basic breakdown 1, 2, 3, 4, use banish 1, then banish 2. Finally, finish it off with the ultimate in her breakdown form, then an outro. Keep in mind that you can use the echo at any point in the rotation, as long as the echo is a summon one. If it's a transform echo, use it before her outro and quickly swap over. For other rotation, where Denia rotates first, start to the basic 1 skill, then basic 1, 2, 3, 4, ultimate to enter breakdown form, basic breakdown 1, 2, 3, 4, skill banish 1, skill banish 2, then finally finish it off with the ultimate in breakdown form and her outro. So should you actually pull for Denia? I'd mainly recommend pulling her if you already have Amet, you have Luke, or if you have Luke and Morne, or at least pull for Morne if you only have Luke, as she can also help free up Linnae for different teams. But outside those situations, I honestly don't think she's a must pull character right now. She definitely has some future potential, but for a lot of accounts, she's more of a luxury pull than a necessary one, especially because of the Cyberpunk collab. So that's basically everything you need to know about Denia. She definitely has some future potential, and I'll personally keep testing her more over the next few days. If this guide helped you out, make sure to subscribe and also join the Discord since we are daily active. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next one.